GM Foxes, hope you're having the best Tuesday ever. Excited for another weekly tokenomics office hours. Kent is out right now, so I'm going to be covering for him today. Going to do my best to fill his shoes. All right, and I went to posted the agenda in the stage chat. If anyone else has any other topics that they want to make sure we discuss today, feel free to suggest those. Also put together some slides because I like slides. And yeah, so if you're in the Zoom, if you're listening, feel free to join the Zoom to follow along with these slides. Also posted the link in the stage chat. Sweet. And let's dive right into it. I'm going to start sharing my screen, and then we can go through these slides. I see right now Crusher's the only one in there with me. Or actually, it's his old avatar. But I see some more Foxes joining. Thank you. Oh, nice. You even get to, if you guys join quickly, you'll get to see some video of Professor McCarthy. Awesome. Cool. So first, we'll kick it off with a treasury update. I just grabbed some of these numbers from the spreadsheet that's linked in the slides. If anyone wants to check out the full spreadsheet, shout out to Darwin for putting the spreadsheet together. This spreadsheet gives a much more accurate overview of the assets currently in the DAO treasury because we've got some of our assets in different places, DeFi strategies or other blockchains. So you don't always get the full view from Zapper or from the boardroom view. But earlier today, our latest view for this is that in the DAO treasury right now, we got 383 million Fox tokens, which is worth $51 million. We got $4 million worth of crypto, mainly 950 ETH. We've also got some token and some tribe in there, and $5.64 million worth of stable coins. And that does not include the UST. So yeah, total, if you include Fox, we got $61.3 million in the treasury. And if you exclude Fox, you got $9.69 million of assets currently in our treasury to work with. Also, grabbed some of the latest numbers from the revenue spreadsheet. Again, shout out to Darwin for putting together this awesome spreadsheet. Encourage you guys to check this out if you haven't already. It's linked from the slides. So in May, we earned 18.6K revenues from affiliate revenues. This is validators, but most of this is validator revenues. There's also some revenues from fiat on and off ramp that we're earning. And yeah, here's this spreadsheet. You can check it out anytime and see how we're doing. Our revenues this month are a lot less than they have been in past months. And you can see a big driver for that is the decrease in both validator revenues, and that's largely related to the market price action. So as the value of all these different assets that we're earning from validator revenues has gone down and the value of the stakes has gone down, our revenues have gone down. There was also a large unbonding on our osmosis validator. So that one went from being profitable to unprofitable. And the best hypothesis around that is that it was related to the UST fiasco. So yeah, just wanted to give an update on our revenues. They're definitely down from past months. Our highest revenue month was in February. We did 750K revenue. And now this past month in May, we're down to about 150K in revenue. And this is not including the Olympus bonds, which we're going to be talking about today as well. In May, from the Olympus bonds, we earned a total of 1.4 million USDC and $247,000 worth of ETH. But we also decreased the emissions by 50% for the USDC bonds on May 24th. So our projections for June, if we didn't turn them off, would be closer to 1 million USDC. But we're going to have a discussion soon about the future of these bonds and whether we should continue them, reduce them, or turn them off entirely. I'm going to check stage chat, see if there's any questions so far. Cool. Feel free to jump on stage and join me too, by the way. Always welcome company up here. All right, so that's the update on the treasury and the revenues for May. Want to give a reminder related to this. One of the levers that we're able to pull to basically decrease our monthly spend and extend our runway is offering all contributors the option to opt into a percentage of their salary in Fox. So I want to remind everybody to get your preferences in before May 6th if you want to receive a percentage of your salary in Fox for May pay cycle. Otherwise, you can update these as long as your workstream leader is fine with you updating these monthly. You'll have an opportunity to update before the pay cycle in June. But if you want to get in for May, please update before May 6th. As a reminder, your options are they range from 3-month lock with 5% extra Fox up to 18% or 18-month lock with 30% extra Fox. So any of these options are on the table, and then as a contributor, you can choose what percent of your salary you want to opt into. It can be anywhere from 0 to 100%. Also linked to the proposal that's going that's in ideation right now. So the plan is to get this proposal up for governance so that we can have it passed before this pay cycle. Yeah, please, contributors and workstream leaders, make sure to get all those updates in before May 6th. And thank you to everybody who is opting into receiving a percent in Fox. All right, cruising through the agenda. Next topic is liquidity mining round 4. Professor, are you in the audience and available to join and give an update on this proposal that I know you just put up for incubation an hour ago or so? Awesome. Just invited you up to speak. Hey, Professor, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, GM Willie. Thanks for leading office hours. Excellent slides. Love a good slide deck. With
Thank you.
GIFs and everything, it's beautiful. Yeah, very well done.
In all honesty, I threw it together like 10 minutes before. I just took some other slides I had. Props to Hoff for the beautiful artwork and did my best to paste some up-to-date information in there. But yeah, I appreciate you coming up here because yeah, I think we're all excited to hear about this latest proposal that just went up for liquidity mining.
Yeah, so we've been talking about this in the TMDC about expanding our liquidity mining rewards program to include Bancor's V3 that is available for 4 tokens right now, but they should be expanding and whitelisting all of the V2 tokens, of which Fox is one. And so as soon as that is available, so sometime really any day now, up until they said May 29th to June 5th. So I haven't taken a look at it in the last couple of days, but so that would allow us to have some rewards that Bancor matches with 50,000 of their BNT token at the time of the liquidity of the reward provisioning. They'll match that up to a certain point. And so it looks like a really good program. It's different because now instead of waiting 100 days, the users have immediate and permanent loss protection. There is a drawback, though, that there's a quarter of a percentage point withdrawal fee, and there's a 7-day redeem pool win down. We are asked as a DAO to escrow a certain number of tokens so that we can bail out individuals who would otherwise suffer that impermanent loss. So that's an interesting new feature that they have there. And as well, they used to just be able to have rewards that were in the BNT, the Bancor token, but now they can be both Bancor and native token. And so, and as well, those the Fox that we provide doesn't just sit there on the sidelines. It actually gets integrated into the liquidity provisioned while it's waiting to be allocated as rewards. So it's a pretty interesting mechanism. Definitely going to be watching it. And yeah, I hope it's gonna. I think it's gonna do a lot of good stuff for the DAO. So we're gonna be extending the current program that we have on Uniswap V2, but we're gonna half that, and then we're going to take the other half essentially, and we're going to allocate that to the Bancor V3 mining rewards program.
Awesome. Thanks for the overview, Professor. So you were just mentioning there was some Fox that we needed to deposit somewhere, and does it get? Did I understand correctly that it's kind of used as like collateral in the event that they're to bail out?
Correct. Correct. And that's actually I need to edit this discussion. That was the last thing that John told me to put in that I forgot to put in. But yeah, about so I'll edit this up about putting we need to allocate essentially 10 million Fox or 20 million Fox into this. Both we need. I'm pretty sure, and I'll double check and maybe do some discussion in the tokenomics public, but pretty sure we'll have to we would want to allocate some to the main pool and then some to that kind of escrow pool. So I think there'll be two different allocations if my understanding is correct.
Okay, got it. Yeah, will definitely be good to get clarity. I did not understand that when Bancor came and talked to us at a recent office hours, or maybe I think we just did a community call with them. I was under the impression that Bancor, basically their token covered the impermanent losses, and I did not understand that we would have to deposit some Fox.
I will double check because that was I got that information from their forums and stuff like that, or from some explainers. So I'll double check.
Awesome.
But, yeah.
Sweet. Thanks for the diligence, and looking forward to hearing what you find there. And then I also see so to recap, this proposal is to continue the liquidity mining rewards on Uniswap V2, but cut them in half. And then we would take up to the other half, up to 6.75 million Fox, to deposit as liquidity mining rewards for Bancor V3. Any idea? Kind of, I see we have this like up to is the idea. Do you think that we will likely end up going that full amount, or are you guys just leaving it open just in case? How are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I think we're planning on the full amount, but just leaving ourselves some wiggle room so that just in case something happens, so that we don't pigeonhole ourselves to having to do the whole amount. But there's no plan of like gradually, laying them out or something like that. There's no on-ramping kind of plan.
Got it. All right, sounds great. Checking the stage chat to see if there's any questions. Feel free to raise hands as well. Come up on stage. Yeah, the general idea here is we've got some strong liquidity on built up on Uniswap V2. We don't want to abruptly end the program, but we do want to wean ourselves off of it. And we see some benefits to Bancor V3 in enabling users to deposit Fox single-sided there and have protection from impermanent loss. Plus, there's definitely this benefit of Bancor matching up to 50K BNT. And there could be some first mover advantage here as well. It is pretty interesting that there's only 4 tokens that are currently available on V3 for single-sided staking. And Fox is one of the few tokens that's already whitelisted. So definitely seems like a lot of benefits, and look forward to hearing everyone's thoughts in the forum. Thanks, Professor.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll work on that more today. Thanks, guys.
Foxenomics No Life says, send it, full send, YOLO. Congrats, by the way, Foxenomics No Life, on your first post in the forum. That was awesome to see. And we're going to be talking about the bond programs in a bit as well. Next topic, let me make sure we're going in the right order here, is reducing these bonds. So, Josh, I know you were just on the TMDC call. I'd love to invite you up to kind of give an update on how TMDC is thinking about this currently. There's been some great discussion in the forums, by the way. For anyone who hasn't seen it yet, I'll post a link to that right now if anyone wants to check it out.
Hello.
GM Josh.
Hey.
Yep, we can hear you.
Cool. I got a little invite, and I always struggle in Discord when I'm like looking at other text channels to get back here, but I'm here. Yeah. So there's been ongoing discussion about the Olympus bonds, really for quite a while, and a lot of the recent ones have been brought up to date by Foxenomics No Life, right? That's your full name, I think.
That's how I pronounce it.
Yeah. And so, and we've been debating them in both the bond committees and in the TMDC. And so what we decided to do, let's see. So I think Willie mentioned that on May 23rd, so like within the last week, 10 days or so, 9 days, 8 days, we cut the emissions of the USDC bonds. So they'd been at a pretty steady state starting in January until sometime in April, and we decided to double the USDC bonds. So all through April and most of May, the emissions were really high. On May 23rd, we cut them back to where they were before. And how we feel right now is we want to experiment and see what happens if we stop the ETH bonds completely. So not sell any ETH bonds. Those were what we started selling to replace when we had liquidity bonds for a while where we were buying our own protocol, own liquidity. We decided it would be better to just buy ETH. And now we think, well, that's not even a stable coin, right? Although it's a little bit more stable than Fox is. We felt really comfortable just saying, hey, let's cut those bonds completely. And then also let's look at our USDC bonds, and decided to cut the USDC emissions such that we're making enough USDC to cover the basic expenses every month. So therefore, our stables don't go down month over month, but we're no longer in a mode of growing that stable stack. And let's see what that does that should create less downward pressure on the Fox price, because we've seen a lot of instances where people are buying the bonds and then immediately selling Fox, like within 5 minutes, selling the Fox because they know they're going to get the Fox back in 2 weeks when the bonds are done. So that's what we talked about in the TMDC. There's some votes up. I'd be very curious. These are committee votes, by the way. These are all within the purview of the committees. They don't require community votes. Is there any community input or questions about this?
Thanks for the overview, Josh. So to recap, the current votes that TMDC is looking at is to turn off the ETH bond program entirely, and then to decrease the USDC bond emissions more. We decreased them last week, but it's decreased another about 50%. So we're just covering our monthly burn. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Awesome. So yeah, curious to hear the community's thoughts. Again, this is, the community always can kind of go beyond the TMDC and the Olympus Bond Committee and can just make their own proposals, and community ultimately has the final say. But appreciate in the meantime the TMDC and Bond Committee basically putting these votes up. I think these are good next steps. I support this.
I'm not seeing anything in the stage chat, and nobody's coming up, right?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions yet. Foxenomics No Life says sounds good. Appreciate that. And thanks for getting this conversation started. Cool. Well, looking forward to seeing the results of those TMDC votes, and appreciate everyone for keeping an eye on these bonds and understanding all the sides of it, right? It's a complex topic, and while we certainly want to decrease Fox emissions, we also want to make sure we have runway to keep building. So appreciate you guys keeping an eye on this and taking steps to further reduce emissions. All right, thanks, Josh. Next topic on the agenda today is a DAO financial model. So this actually mentioned this during the discussions around the bond program. Obviously, one of the best way for us to extend our runway is to become profitable. And right now, we don't really have a clear idea of what it would take to get profitable. We're certainly prioritizing features that we think will bring in revenues and bring in users, but we're lacking a financial model. So just chatted about this with the TMDC earlier today, and Tokenomics Workstream, Professor McCarthy and Darwin are going to take on creating this financial model. So still open to any kind of feedback from both them as well as the community on what this financial model looks like, but kind of like such as CowSwap, and use whatever data we have to estimate average user volumes for each of these rev streams as well as user growth. So, we have some rev streams live. We have some that we are anticipating. It'd be great to have a model that kind of shows when we anticipate these other rev streams to go live. And then basically take as much data as we have and continue iterating as we get better data, just to estimate on average how much does an individual user, how much volume do they do for each of these various revenue streams. And then we can start to get an understanding of some of these questions. What is the average value of each user acquired? How many users would the DAO need to achieve profitability? Based on our current roadmap and trajectory, when could we expect to achieve profitability? And also, like, at what point do we expect Fox buybacks to outweigh emissions? So I think it'd be great to not only model the revenue growth, but also include just the total Fox emissions each month, as well as Fox buybacks. Obviously, we'll have to make a lot of assumptions initially, but ideally we can design this model so it can be easily adjusted as better data is available. Like, for instance, we can do our best to estimate the starting TVL and growth rates for each ELD, but as soon as we actually launch them, we'll have much better data that we can use to update our models. So yeah, mainly just wanted to kind of mention this as something that we recognize that we don't have, that would be useful to have, and something that the Tokenomics Workstream is going to be taking on. So soon we'll have a model, and we can start to at least understand with our current roadmap, our current hypotheses, the current data that we do have, how many users will we need to break even, and then we can hopefully have some goals come from that, and also just validate if we're heading in the right direction, or see if we need to actually revisit it. That is one thing that these models are never. The one thing about models that's for sure, that's guaranteed, is that they're wrong. But one really useful thing about models is we can at least put together a model with these rev streams that we have in place and anticipate, and confirm that it is a viable business, basically. All right, I'm going to check just to see if there's any questions on this. Cool. Also, as part of this, just put together some of our currently active revenue streams, which is cool to kind of touch on for a second. We've got right now several validators that are being run. We've got affiliate revenues from both Banksa and Jim, fiat on and off ramps. We have affiliate revenues from our single-sided staking integration, Yearn. Not huge revenues yet, but it's set up so that as we bring more deposits in there, that we will be earning revenues. We got a few miscellaneous things. We got the merch store, Keep Key sales, toke rewards from the Fox Reactor. We got these Olympus bonds, which you could kind of count as revenues, but those also come with Fox emissions. And we got the Foxy protocol that's rocking and generating Fox buybacks. So we got some solid active revenue streams, and then we have a lot that are currently kind of planned. But we could get some more information on this, right? Like, what are the next validators that we plan on adding and when? We got idle finance ready to go on single-sided staking, but what are the next staking protocols we'll be integrating with affiliate revs and when? On trading, we got CowSwap coming up with affiliate revenues. We also had a proposal from Perp Protocol to offer affiliate revenues for trading, and TracerDAO is interested in offering the same. So when could we expect these to be live? We also, when will we make proposals to Osmosis and or ThorChain for affiliate revs? So some of this you don't necessarily have answers for yet, but it kind of helps. Also, putting together this model can kind of help inform some of these questions too, and can help us plan, make sure that we're thinking about the bottom line as we plan. Borrowing and lending, that's another one. Rari said they'd be open to affiliate revs there. And then another one, ThorChain emissions for LPing Fox Rune. As soon as we can complete that token swap and liquidity providing, we'll start earning some Rune as well as trading fees, but we'll earn Rune emissions. And then we got additional yieldies. So lots of upcoming revenue streams that we have kind of planned. It'd be awesome to start to model these and understand have a better understanding about how each of these could actually impact the bottom line.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, Willie. And I just put a call out on the stage, and I just wanted to kind of reiterate it here and jump up real quick. And just, if anybody, I know there's a lot of cross-DAO pollination, right? So, anybody that has, or can ask around about existing, financial models or forecasts or P&Ls, any of that stuff, looking at other DAOs or even, just blockchain companies that have public information, any of that kind of stuff would help in terms of building it. Because right now I'm just going to kind of build it off a very, typical MBA-esque kind of model. But I just want to make sure, maybe they're doing something that I'm not doing. Maybe there's some KPI that we should be paying attention to that other people are. So anytime, we can borrow from our friends instead of reinventing the wheel, I'd love to do that. So I just thought I'd put the bug in the ear of all the beautiful listeners out there that if you hear of it or just put your ear to the ground about those kind of models and send them my way or just post them in the dashboard part of the Tokenomics Discord and Darwin and I'll find it.
Awesome. Thanks, Professor McCarthy. I haven't heard of very many DAOs doing financial models, surprisingly. But I think Ocean may have done one with Elastic Swap. So if that could all be useful, it'd be helpful to see that.
Yeah.
And I do know,
absolutely.
Awesome. And Yearn, I don't know if they do financial models, but they do some pretty cool quarterly reports. Have you ever seen those, Professor?
I have not. I will check that out today.
Sweet. Yeah. I don't know if it'd be helpful for this exercise, but definitely could be some good inspiration. Just kind of cool to see how they're doing it.
Very cool. Thank you. Yeah. Any kind of that kind of information, please send my way, audience, as I'm building this. I love it. So yeah, thank you. This is going to be fun.
Thanks, Professor. Thanks, Darwin.
Thank you.
Awesome. So another topic we had on the agenda was Fox incentives. I wanted to bring this up because it is something that I'm really excited about, and I think could really help us with bringing in users, bringing in revenues, and it's unique. I just love this model, and I'm not sure if we talked about it in Tokenomics office hours at all recently. But we talk a lot about these affiliate revenues, and one of the really interesting things about a DAO offering this affiliate revenue program is our ability to reward users who generate revenue for the DAO with Fox. So right now, all of this is live except for this bottom left quadrant, right? Users can come to ShapeShift, they can deposit into Yearn or other partners, such as the validators or fiat on and off ramps. And these partners pay the DAO affiliate revenues in the way that doesn't cost the user any extra. So something that I'm excited to prioritize is the ability to actually, for users to earn Fox whenever they complete these revenue generating activities. And do this in a way that's sustainable, right? Of course, we have levers we could pull. We could decide maybe we really want to go aggressively and acquire a lot of users early on. So maybe we do decide that we want to subsidize some of the revenue we're earning with Fox. So for instance, let's say we earn $1 of revenue when a user does a $100 purchase on a fiat on-ramp. Maybe we decide to give the user $2 of Fox or $1.50 of Fox. All those things are configurable and of course will be up to the community. But I'm really excited about this because I think we've seen a lot of examples in crypto where DeFi users really care about the bottom line. So like a classic example of this is SushiSwap. When SushiSwap launched and all of a sudden it was a better place to provide liquidity than Uniswap, they were able to quote unquote vampire attack. This is the term for it. They were able to vampire over $1 billion of liquidity from Uniswap to SushiSwap, which was over half of Uniswap's liquidity within a week. So that's obviously a big example because they also had a whole airdrop and stuff, and it was top of mind for everyone, every active DeFi user at the time. But there's been some other examples of this as well. I remember Basket DAO launched a competing version of the DeFi Pulse Index, and myself, as well as a lot of users, as soon as it was a better way to basically have an index of exposure to these DeFi protocols, because Basket DAO basically used yield-bearing versions of the tokens wherever possible. They were able to suck a lot of the liquidity over. And I get really excited about this. I always get excited about ways that ShapeShift can be the best at something. We used to be the best at something, and it's been a while since we've been the best at anything. But I think we have a path to do that. And what I like about this model is that it really enables us to be objectively the best, not just the best in terms of like UI UX, but the best in terms of the bottom line financially to users. If we can, with this model, we can be the best way to use a growing number of protocols, not just Yearn, but any protocol that offers affiliate revenues, which a growing number of these protocols are willing to do. And that's powerful. If we can objectively be the best way to use a number of these, there's also some really strong network effects, right? And I think a lot of power users will understand, like, okay, if I can use all these protocols for free through ShapeShift and earn some extra Fox, and my activity is generating revenue for the DAO, which benefits me as a Fox holder, I just think that's a really powerful model that we can build some really strong network effects around, and it's very hard to replicate. And we're fortunate that ShapeShift already has a very good reputation. We've had a lot of success in being able to kind of negotiate these affiliate revenue deals even before we have a lot of these network effects. But I think as we get more of these affiliate revenue deals and we become the best way to use more and more protocols, we'll have even more leverage to be able to negotiate this with the protocols or even with the communities, right? We can just make proposals, and it doesn't necessarily have to be protocol fees paid from the usage. It can also be like from the DAO's treasury, right? Like right now, Uniswap, 100% of every fee paid on the Uniswap protocol goes to liquidity providers, but they got this huge treasury of Uniswap tokens. And if we make a proposal to them, it'd be up to us to make the case to their community. But I think as we build more of these network effects, we really will be in a good place to negotiate that. This is kind of an example of what this could look like. So if we were to take this approach, we have these levers for what we do with the revenue that the DAO is earning. So in this example, basically, for every $1 of revenue generated by the user, this is a very sustainable model where the user is basically earning 50 cents of Fox. What's happening on the DAO side is that we are actually trading 75 cents of that $1 revenue for Fox tokens. So there's Fox buybacks. We're buying Fox on the market, and we're keeping, in this scenario, we'd keep 25 cents of the revenue in the treasury. This could be used to fund operations. But there's more. So in this case, again, the user earns 50 cents of Fox, or we could potentially decide to actually just reward Foxy. We could also decide to, if we do Fox, or if we figure out how to do Foxy on other EVM networks, we could reward the Fox on a cheaper chain so that users don't have to pay a lot of gas to claim. And in this scenario where the DAO is earning $1 of revenue, we can also reward Foxy holders with 50 cents of Fox. Interestingly, the DAO itself is a holder of Foxy. And if the DAO targets holding about 50% of the Foxy, it gets back 25% of that Fox reward. So again, this scenario, all these parameters can be tweaked. But in this scenario, with this model, for every $1 of revenue, 75 cents of Fox gets purchased on the open market. 25 cents of revenue is retained by the DAO for operations. And then we also earn 25 cents of Fox that's bought back on the market because we're a Foxy holder. The user who generated the revenue earns 50 cents, and Foxy stakers, not including the DAO, earn 25 cents. One other thing I'll mention with this, we were chatting about this in the validators channel earlier, is that we can even do this across chains, and we have kind of an idea for how to do this. We can enable users to basically like opt into earning rewards on any chain by signing a message with their keys for that chain that includes their Ethereum address. That's how we could basically, and we could store that on something like IPFS and have a script that basically looks at all of the activity from those addresses that have opted in that generated revenue for the DAO, and basically calculate how much Fox to reward users and do that weekly. It's similar to how Balancer and how Giveth do their rewards programs. It's basically like a weekly update to a smart contract. And it'd be a process that anybody could run. And I imagine we'd have like a committee appointed by the DAO to be responsible for calculating that and adding those rewards. So still some stuff to be figured out, but I wanted to share this because I'm really excited about it. But I also don't think it's necessarily the type of thing that we should prioritize right now. Right now, first of all, there's ongoing discussions around just the features in the work that we're prioritizing on the product engineering level. And there's a meeting tomorrow between engineering managers and product managers to kind of discuss various potential priorities and basically align on like the roadmap and what milestones we think are most valuable for us to focus on, so that we can grow users, grow revenues, and also there's this lingering need to get to parity so that we can sunset the legacy products and migrate all users to the new version. So I'm looking forward to that meeting, and figuring out which milestones we align on. But yeah, me personally, I think it makes sense to first complete those milestones, complete the migration, and then prioritize this feature. Once we have a solid product that can stand on its own, once we've achieved some of these product market fit milestones where we could be the best without these incentives, just like with the ability to do buy, sell, send, receive, earn yield in Ethereum land, and buy, sell, send, receive, earn yield in Cosmos land. I think once we have those in place, that's when it really makes sense for us to prioritize these Fox incentives. And I kind of view it as like pouring fuel on the fire. I hope we'll be able to get to product market fit and see some solid signs of that, see that we're able to acquire users, and that they're coming and retain them and generate revenues at a profitable way. And then I think adding these Fox incentives is a great way to really pour fuel on the fire and bootstrap a lot of these network effects. And so I put together this little chart just to kind of show you guys where we are here. And obviously a lot of this we'll figure out exactly what these milestones are tomorrow. This is not, the financial model will hopefully be a lot more accurate than this, but this is kind of how I see things. I think right now we're generating about 150K of revenues per month, which isn't a ton, but it's pretty solid considering what ShapeShift centralized was earning before, and where we are at with our product. A lot of these revenue streams are not built in the legacy product; they're built in this new product, and we don't have a ton of users in the new product, and I'm not super surprised by that because we're not the best at anything in there yet. We haven't migrated users from the legacy version, but I think we can get there. So kind of like my high level hope, and I look forward to discussing this with the EMs and PMs, is that in about 3 months we will have hit a lot of these product market fit milestones. We'll actually have some features in the product that we think can stand on their own and make ShapeShift the best for crypto users in some niches, even without the Fox incentives. And then in about 3 months, we can complete the legacy migration, which that alone, will result in some of the existing users, which is tens of thousands of users from ShapeShift migrating to this new version, where we do have these revenue streams built in. And then I expect to see some growth when we do that. So I'm not expecting a ton of growth in the new app until we get to this migration and hit some of these product market fit milestones. And then over the next several months, I do think it makes sense for us to both, continue optimizing the product, of course, expanding those product market fit features. So areas that we're seeing some signs of product market fit, doubling down, leveraging some of these abstraction layers we've built to add support for more protocols, and then adding Fox incentives on top. And I do expect that once we get here, and I would hope that we could get there again within like 6 months. I would hope that once we get there, where we start to see some really solid revenue growth and user growth. And another thing that we can combine with this as well is like a referral program, and actually rewarding users who refer other users to the platform that generate revenue with some Fox tokens as a way to really accelerate this growth. So I've talked for a bit. It's some pretty high level stuff. So I'm going to switch over to stage chat, see if there's any questions. Welcome back, DeFi Cafe. I see Ocean's typing. Ocean, feel free to come up on stage too if that's easier, but no pressure. And yeah, I will say I wanted to just throw this together just to share it's a high level thought, and this is how I'm thinking about things. And fortunately, we have runway to get through here. I'm always open to better ideas for how we can kind of increase the likelihood that we'll be able to get to profitability, and open to other approaches. But this is at least how I'm thinking about things right now. And yeah, I wish. Oh, Ocean, welcome to the stage, sir.
Thanks, Lily. Thanks for saying this. I think it's awesome. I think like in so many ways, the Web3 vision is that like the users of some protocol or some platform become the owners of that platform and protocol. And so it definitely aligns with that. I think in my mind, it's like the critical piece is the timing of it. And it kind of, as you alluded to, right, it really can obscure a lot of the signals you're getting from users once you start incentivizing them to take actions. So in general, I think this is awesome, and I think it's definitely probably something we'll have to like really think through about the when of it all. But yeah, it's a cool vision for sure.
I'm glad to hear that, Ocean. Yeah, and I completely agree. I think there is something so powerful about this community-owned aspect of it, and I think we can really benefit from that. And I'm just really excited to see a model like this where you can come use it. It doesn't cost you any extra, but the DAO's earning revenues and you're getting ownership. I just think that's such a cool model, and especially we're seeing the power of community. We see that every single day. But I think not only is this a great way to build an awesome product, but also just to build a really strong community, which has just compounding benefits. So I'm glad you're on board with it. And yeah, I look forward to hammering out some more of the details, getting clarity on timeline, getting a financial model around this. All things I think can help this, can help us. But yeah, glad to hear that in general you're on board with that vision. And again, if anyone else has better visions, we're all always open to it. And just because we're focusing on the interface doesn't mean that we can't also focus on the protocols. I do think there's some extra benefits from having that ultimate interface, but also having some protocols that are revenue generating for the DAO that our interface helps bring users to, such as Yieldies. So always open to ideas for how we can DAO it even better. All right. If there's no other thoughts on the Fox incentives, I'll move into a quick Yieldy update. Update here is that the contracts are going through audit. We're having discussions around kind of what the first Yieldies should be to launch. As a reminder, the plan is we will be able to launch Yieldies for any project that has a tokamak reactor, but we don't necessarily want to launch 12 different Yieldies all at once. So we're kind of figuring out what is the cost benefit of how many Yieldies we should launch and which Yieldies should we launch. So stay tuned for an update there. Also, just a quick update that product is working on. They're exploring the UI UX for this, and we are taking the community's feedback. There's interest in both a kind of dedicated page for Yieldies, and we think that makes sense. We're at least exploring that, as well as including Yieldies on that earn page and enabling users to kind of filter and adding that filter functionality, which we'll need as we add all these different protocols. That's all I've got on the agenda for today. Anyone else want to bring up any miscellaneous topics? I see DeFi's typing. I'll give another reminder to go into, if you join late, to go into Sobel and update your preferences for what % of your salary you'd like in Fox, as well as how long you'd like to lock it for varying discounts. Make sure you get your preferences in there by May 6th. If you're a workstream leader, make sure you tell all your contributors to get their updates in before May 6th. All right, I see DeFi is still typing. We'll give him a second. DeFi, feel free to come join on stage too. That's easier. Sweet. DeFi is saying basically wants to do some rough math of what kind of trade volume, commissions, total user numbers we need to break even cash flow wise. I love it. DeFi, that sounds a lot like what we were talking about. So I think we're aligned there. Darwin says June 6th. Darwin, what does June 6th mean? I might have missed something in the chat. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for your patience while I do my best to fill in for Kent. Appreciate all of you guys. And just because office hours ends here doesn't mean the tokenomics discussions have to. Appreciate everyone's discussions on tokenomics in the Discord and the forum this past week. And as you can see, a lot of those discussions are already coming to fruition. Appreciate you all. Hope you guys have the best day ever. See you in the metaverse.